Good afternoon and welcome to Unit 12 of IMC, Legal and Ethical Issues. Integrated marketing communication aims to ensure that the organization and its stakeholders are engaged in a seamless communication to derive the consumer experience in consumption of the products or services and optimization of the organizational objectives, that is profits or say brand value delivery or the social image that they are creating. Besides communicating with the shareholders, IMC also competes with the competitors and also convinces the customers about their decision of preferring a product or a brand. Thus, these communication needs to be well within the limits of legal and ethical boundaries, and that they must be clear, truthful, and authentic, and also accurate, which helps the stakeholders in better decision making. So the information you create and send the messages through advertisements or say the personal selling attempts or any form of communication over a range of platform need to ensure that it is the right message reaching the right customer at the right time. At the same time, the messages shouldn't be biasing, shouldn't be manipulating the customer. So it is the onus of the organization and the IMC department in order to uh, keep a note on the ethical and legal issues. Now, the legal issues in IMC. With the advancement of technology, and the way it has paved way for the media to take the best use of this technology and reach the message to the customer through various platforms along with the traditional media have enabled the IMC to establish a multidisciplinary, multidimensional, multifaceted, complex and volatile field. Now, does there exist various legal and ethical challenges for the marketer, and to ensure that the consumer gets what is promised in the right spirit? Now, IMC integrates internal, that is, various, departments in the organization, as well as the external partners like the suppliers, the customers, the intermediaries. Now, they need to integrate them both. Now, this challenge is further intensified with the involvement of new technology like the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, the virtual reality, and also the virtual spaces like metaverse. Now, the common legal issues we need to understand are the intellectual property rights laws and the trademarks, patents. We have to understand the copyright, the infringements that occur. So let us discuss today all these one by one. Okay. Now, when we say intellectual property, what does it mean, and how is IMC related to the intellectual property laws? Now, intellectual property, when we say it is the set of various intangible assets owned by a company and is legally protected against use by others, other maybe competitors or maybe other in the public, and without the knowledge or consent of the creator. Now, it can be human intellect, it can be innovations, it can be a specific brand or trademark, etc. It is a property of the one who has created it, and has got absolute right of using uh, that particular innovation or intangible asset they have created and draw the benefit out of it. Okay. Uh, it may also include trademarks. And when we say trademark, it is any word or say symbol or a logo or a statement, or it can be a design or a brand itself. Okay. Uh, Possibly a combination of any of these elements that I have just mentioned. Uh, and that identify the goods or service of a certain marketer, which provides a legal protection for the brand and help in guarding against counterfeiting counterfeiting and any kind of fraudulent practice by other parties. So when someone has got something very unique, they may even go for a patent. Now, patent is a property right for the innovation or technology or a business process granted by the government agency, you can say government agency as per the law, and this becomes a sole property until they wish to retain it. And if the creator wishes to uh, give away the patent rights and then let others use, it is up to the company or the marketer or the owner. When we have these, these creations in the form of writing, usually we say copyrights, which are usually for authors, and those who create original creative content or material and possess the exclusive rights of using this or copying this or editing them and reproducing it or say duplicating the material. They have the sole rights. Uh, and this copyright gives the original creator the power to grant authorization to others through license agreements. Okay. Now, anywhere there is a breach, we call this now the infringement, and the infringement occurs whenever a third party engages in unauthorized use or non-permissible use of the concerned asset. Now, the legal protection also have a license span. Now, any of these copyrights or patent, they are for a certain period of time. Now, during which the individual who creates it or the organization who is the sole owner of the patent or the intellectual property fully utilizes this knowledge or value creation, for value creation, and gain maximum return on investment. So they have a sole right. Now, IMC is diligently used for identifying and protecting the intellectual property and the value it creates. In India, we come across around 7 types of IPRs: copyrights, patents, geographical indicators. Then we have semiconductor ICs, integrated circuits. Then we have trademarks. We have industrial designs. Then we have layout designs and plant varieties. Okay, so these are the various IPRs that we practice in India. Now, the question is, besides this, the marketers also engage into contracts and sales deeds. Now, marketing basically is all about the transactions and sales, governed by the Indian Contract Act, that is Contract of 1872, and also the Sale of Goods Act of 1930. Now, the terms and conditions of the contracts and sales deeds are according to these acts, and there are a few others as well. Now, IMC, or Integrated Marketing Communication, is involved in defining and conveying the terms and conditions of the sale, the delivery, payments, and other agreements to sell, and is absolutely and this should absolutely be in clear terms and in sync with the different messages IMC creates over different platforms. So in case of any discrepancy or say confusion or say ambiguity or misunderstanding of the terms and conditions, there is a possible miscommunication between the buyer and seller, resulting in conflict or dispute or say cancellation of the deal. So IMC ensures that the communication to these stakeholders and the customers is done in a very clear manner, and also to the competitors, and ensure that there is no scope of infringement leading to any kind of a complicacy. So we need to now discuss about the various activities practiced by the IMC, keeping in view the legal and ethical norms. Okay, advertising rules and regulations. Now, every country has got their own advertising guidelines and laws to address the legal issues or say moral issues like unfair business practices or unauthorized use of the products, or say like false associations, surrogate advertising, parody, and also misleading and deceptive content in the advertisements. Usually in comparative advertising, we come across this. So we need to be very, very careful about the way we create the message and deliver the message. Thus, IMC executives must have a complete understanding of the advertising rules and regulations. They need to keep abreast of the guidelines for prevention of misleading advertising, and also the endorsement for misleading advertisements issued by the CCPA, they say, the Central Consumer Protection Authority. Now, based on these terms and conditions, they need to ensure that the advertising messages are created and delivered in its right spirit. As mentioned, we come across two ways of advertising. One is the comparative advertising and the other is the competitive advertising. Now, what is comparative advertising? Now, comparative advertising directly compares a brand, their brand or product, with its closest competitor, or their service with the competitor's service, highlighting differences in the features, the benefits, or the price, or the performance. Now, it may even name the competitor in those advertising, and showing some identifiable elements very explicitly presented. So we get to know that it is being compared in a very aggressive way. It could be a factual way as well, but mostly it is done in a very humorous manner. The approach these advertisements take is very humorous. So, so that the consumer recalls the situation or the scenario, and then it gets influenced to prefer a particular product. Okay. But this certainly has got a very high risk of legal issues because of a high chance of misleading or unsubstantiated message being delivered. Obviously, the advertiser here is intending to show superiority over the competing brand. And as remarked, it is like directly comparing a certain brand. We can take the example of Pepsi and Coca-Cola, and we have seen all those wars these two brands have. But then at times you can certainly use comparative advertising, like when you have got a measurable superiority over the competitors in aspects of price or performance or the raw material used. Say, suppose you are using biodegradable material in your packaging and all. Well, if it is a claim that certainly contributes to balance the ecosystem and not pollute your environment, this is a commendable measure taken by the marketer and the company and the brand. And certainly you can make such comparison. Also, if your ingredients are not harmful to the consumers, or you want to challenge the market leader, important getting concept. Your concept is very important. Is about comparative advertising. Let's look at the competitive advertising. In case of the competitive advertiser promotes indirectly, uh, not mentioning of the competition, in fact, naming the competitor, but at the same time, their own brand strengths are highlighted or compared. Now, it implies superiority through what do you say, like indirect references or the unique value proposition. So here is mention of any specific competitor, and the message would be very, very persuasive and brand focused. They're talking specifically about their own brand, what their brand they deliver, or what value proposition they have. So the risk is comparatively very low in competitive advertising. The basic objective is to promote their own brand value and the benefits customer derives in general. For example, we can take the Apple advertising, Apple products promotions. When they talk about, when they are promoting about privacy, without naming Android any place, right? So they do not make a direct implied, rather they go for an implied message than pointing out exactly what their product, what competitor product may fail to do. Okay. The next is consumer data and privacy issues. Well, the business world these days thrives on data and information as a competitive advantage. So a mad race to collect as much data and information as possible about the consumers and their buying behavior as possible. As a result, the challenge to protect the consumer privacy is being compromised and it's becoming a mammoth task to handle. Now, right to privacy being a fundamental right according to the Information Technology Act 2000 in the Indian Constitution. The Article 21 talks about this right to privacy being a fundamental right. Every individual consumer has a right to not let this personal information shared openly in various platforms, whichever their companies have collected. Now, IMC must adhere to the laws and regulations related to consumer data and privacy. Shouldn't be there, that's become a rampant misuse of customer data. So IMC must ensure that the consumer data is well protected. Uh, Consumer Protection Act and the Consumer Right. Now, Sorry for the interruption. We were discussing how the Central Consumer Protection Authority, the apex body in India, is responsible for the for framing the laws and regulations that guide in the implementation of the laws through the Consumer Protection Act, and how it promotes and protects the consumer rights in protecting against the marketing of hazardous goods, or the consumer be informed about the quality, quantity, the price, the potency of the product or service, and the purity of the ingredients included, and any standard price that the product should be costing. Now, also, they should be informed about any possibility of an unfair trade practice. The Consumer Protection Act promotes and protects the consumers' rights in giving them the assurance about the possible access to an authority of goods at a competitive price. Also, the Act ensures that the customer be heard and assured uh, that the consumer interest will also be always be received and given due consideration at appropriate forums. Uh, Next, the Consumer Protection Act protects the consumer's rights to seek redressal against any kind of a unfair trade practice or unscrupulous exploitation or manipulation of the consumers. And finally, it also ensures that the customer gets the education or access to the consumer education regarding the various laws and regulations in the interest of protecting the consumer. Okay. Then we talk about the competition regulations. Integrated marketing communication play a key role in positioning the company, the brand, the product, the services in comparison to the competitors. Now, Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act of 1969 was the pre-liberalization, privatization, globalization economic reforms law, acted as a base for the Competition Act 2000. Now, this act has established to focus on uh, own strength and not on others' weaknesses. So, comparative advertising or competitive advertising must be done very carefully, uh, and it shouldn't seem to be demeaning the competitor's product or the brand. Now, the Act was also established to use credible sources and clear disclaimers to also avoid ambiguity in competitive claims. And finally, to pre-validate the ads with legal teams or self-regulatory bodies. So we then come to the next one, that is the POP norms, or point of purchase norms, where we have these display placement, a strategic self position to increase the visibility of a product. Also, branded fixtures using brand elements like, say, mascots or logos at the sales counter. It has to be done legally and logically, and shouldn't be hiding the competitor product, or being highlighted in a way that the competitors' products get, I mean, do not get the visibility. Also, like the size and the materials, it talks about the size and materials. Like The standees, the shelf talkers or the wobblers must follow the brand guidelines and the store policies. They shouldn't be done at the whims and fancies of the storekeeper, benefiting to one brand and uh, I mean, for some vested interests and monetary benefits provided by the competing brands. Now, retailer agreements, brands must follow store specific point of purchase displays and based on those norms like space allocation and payment for the display have to be very clear and transparent. So let us see like what are the steps in handling the legal issues in IMC. The team of integrated marketing communications must have multidisciplinary experts like the CSR department, the product manager department, the product managers, the customer care executives, and also the people representing the corporate law. Now, integration should be extended to suppliers as well as the intermediaries. Now, use of proper media at the right time with the right content to the right audience with clear, effective, and efficient message to be conveyed to these people. Now, POP material be creatively designed, used, and updated as per the policies. All the documents must be designed and finalized as per the law, and discrepancies be addressed by appropriate legal advisory. Let us look at the ethical issues in integrated marketing communication. The classic example of the fair and lovely fairness cream historically promised fairer skin equals success, which was very misleading both in claim and the value proposition. Now, this kind of a deception violates the consumer trust and it influences the purchasing decisions very unfairly. Now, Advertising Standards Council of India (ASCI) has cracked down on the misleading ads, requiring clear substantiation of the claims. And once this is, this has been, the law has actually protected the consumers, and Fair and Lovely's exaggerated product benefit, hiding disclaimers, or presenting a false comparison have been challenged. Now it is renamed thereafter as Glow and Lovely. Uh, well, uh, uh, we can see from this like how unethical practices can be curbed and the consumer's interests be protected. Now, such ethical issues arise due to the misleading content or stereotyping or say consumer manipulation and many more. Now, IMC aims to ensure consistent, persuasive brand messaging across all platforms. Now, organizations must ensure that the communications follow six key ethical values. And what are these? Uh, the communication must be, honest in the product and the message as well. Fairness in dealing with the partners, employees, and customers. Responsibility towards the society, the ecosystem, and the stakeholders. Uh, Transparency must be maintained in the contracts, deals, and offers. Uh, it also must ensure that the respect for people, plant, and the holistic well-being is taken care of. Also, it must ensure belongingness through the citizenship rights and duties. Now, let us look at some of these issues we come across in the marketing communication attempts. Misleading advertising, as we saw in the Fair and Lovely case, this comes under a misleading advertising, and the laws have actually protected the consumer from the false claims, uh, and thereby they had to bring in whatever changes in order to give a more clear picture. The next ethical issue that we come across by improper practices in the market we see is the stereotyping and gender biasness. Now, marketing campaigns that reinforce gender, caste, or say regional stereotypes, especially in household items or beauty products or say matrimonial products and similar categories. Now there are certain ads showing women and only in the kitchen, performing some household chores only, or equating success with fair complexion or male dominance. Okay. Also, we come across certain matrimonial websites promoting fair, convent educated, homely women as, are the ones who get easily, get the align, I mean, uh, are preferred over the others, kind of, and the matrimonial success rate depends upon these qualities. So there would be stereotyping. Okay. Now, such messages basically reinforce regressive societal norms and alienate the diverse or progressive um, audiences. Now, so the IMC must ensure that they are not victimizing certain customers who wouldn't be possessing these qualities, and such discrimination must certainly be avoided in their messages. The marketing communication may also tend to practice misutilizing children in the advertising, like having an emotional, what do you say, you have a uh, emotional influence over the consumers by using children in the ads. Now, say suppose we use kids for advertisements of soft drinks or junk food or some kind of an emotional blackmail in the cleaning products, the detergents or the soaps or cleansing products in the commercials, in the advertisements. Now, to market products which are unfit for these age groups and to influence the adults emotionally is the wrong practice some of these advertisings do. So such unethical practices promoting unhealthy consumption patterns among children must be checked. Okay. Surrogate advertising. This is another issue that we come across. Now, advertising banned products like alcohol or tobacco under the guise of promoting other products like club soda or say music CDs or say uh, other material like your calendars. Kingfisher per se promotes calendars, music, or say airline, liquor, liquor branding. Okay. Now, uh, this is what we call surrogate advertising, and it certainly is an unethical practice. Well, for the marketers, it may seem that's a strategy or that's an art, but the general public certainly understands that it is a banned product that's being promoted under the guise of this other products. Cultural insensitivity. Marketers must ensure that they do not victimize the consumers. Um, we can take examples of ads that offend religion, regional or say linguistic sentiments, especially in a secular and diverse country like India. Now, when confronted with such a I mean, uh, with such a objectionable practice, Tanesh pulled an ad featuring an interfaith couple after the backlash that happened. So they pulled back the advertisement. Now, these unethical messages or say content or concepts spark communal unrest and tension. Besides even damaging the company and the brand's reputation. So IMC teams must ensure that they are not taking such advantage of the sentiments of consumers through their cultural insensitivity. Now, ambush marketing and unfair practices. Brands ambush events or competitors without authorization or ethics. Now, during the IPL, like some brands indirectly associate themselves um, with the promotion of their products, or like they act like sponsors while they do not have official sponsorship with the IPL. Uh, Next, invasion of privacy in the digital integrated marketing communication. Now, digital marketing uses cookies and also data trackers and AI tools to target consumers without their consent or even their awareness, which is absolutely wrong. What happens is the consumer gets over targeted, um, say, because this consumer has visited a certain site, and that data, with that data, the consumer is targeted on other social media like Facebook or say Instagram, and continuously the products being pushed. uh, well, it may happen accidentally that a consumer, while browsing for certain products, has come across a product which he accidentally might have clicked and visited the website, and even for a fraction of second, clicked the website and came out. But the very visit to the site has been recorded, and that data is shared with those who are advertising on that particular page, and then they start following the consumer and target the consumer. At times, even the do not disturb option doesn't save the consumer. Okay. And then we have this greenwashing. Now, brands exaggerate or fake their environmental sustainability, claiming to appeal the customers that they are eco-conscious, whereas truly they aren't. Now, usually it happens with the FMCG brands that claim eco-friendly packaging. Uh, they claim but they do not have a proof that the packaging is truly eco-friendly. Misleading labels like 100% biodegradable without actually having a certification or sharing the certification with the public is certainly kind of greenwashing. Now, if we just look at the overall unethical practices. Now, what is it that IMC must make a note of? So, let us look at the key ethical principles for IMC, particularly in India. Now, IMC has to ensure to practice truth and transparency in their content and message creation. And they need to avoid any false claims or hidden conditions. Um, so they need to share the information with the consumers and the prospects uh, very openly. Next, they need to have respect for the diversity. They should avoid stereotyping. They should have some cultural. I mean, they shouldn't be. Uh, sorry. Avoid any kind of cultural insensitivity to impact the consumer and influence them to buy their products. Now, IMC must also ensure to protect the vulnerable groups like the kids and do not exploit using them and manipulating the adult emotions. Sorry. Even they must ensure that the other vulnerable groups like the marginalized consumers or the elderly uh, uh, and ensure true, transparent, clear, genuine messages in their promotional activities. Uh, IMC team must also ensure that they practice data ethics and get proper consent for or using the data of consumers. Um, Permissions must be taken from the consumer in order to have further communication. So you must have come across certain permissions sought by a certain website. When you click it knowingly or unknowingly, immediately a pop-up window comes asking you to share your email address or your phone number so that the company can keep pushing some information, promotional offers and all. So if we share it, well, we are giving the consent. So you may opt in or opt out. So that is one thing they can practice. So data ethics must be practiced honestly. And finally, like they must also show some environmental responsibility, like they must, whatever green claims they mention, they must back it with the right proof. Now, this is all about the ethical and legal issues in IMC. Uh, well, that's all and for today. If you have any query, you can always mail me, like I said, Rajugopal Silla at gmail.com. Thank you.